Yes, show them your C.
This is like, you know how Dolly Parton uses her fingernails to like make music? I'm using my seashells for this nice
Seabird song.
She's the seabird. She is here to destroy you. Guys, we are back with another breakdown, and today we are breaking down the Albatross, which I'm very excited to do because this is an intriguing one for us.
I think there's going to be lots to fathom. This is going to be...
I think so too.
Let's turn our brains on.
Yes.
Because Mother is saying some things.
She's saying some things in this song. I do think you guys need some context as to where we're at with this song.
Yeah.
So, look, a lot of you guys were like, oh my God, the girls are going to love the Albatross because it sonically is giving Ivy, and you know how much we love Ivy.
We love Ivy.
Unfortunately, that's not how we feel.
No.
I mean, we do agree that it has a similar sound to Ivy, but it's just, I think that this song never fully like penetrated us in the same way because it took us a long time to really grasp what she's saying here. And even then, I hesitate to say that we even grasped it today.
Yeah.
What we understand is the overall concept, but there are individual lyrics that I think stump us a little bit and we don't really understand exactly what she's saying. But this song, I think, is a really powerful one for Taylor, and it makes sense that there it is, the Albatross vinyl. It makes sense to me that this was one of the 4 songs that she chose to give us as a bonus track on the vinyls before we knew that there was a anthology coming out, because this song very obviously really speaks to what it is like to be famous, and I think specifically with the narrative that the media has painted about Taylor being like a serial dater and discarding men after a few dates and all of that.
I agree. And we thought we would do it the same week that we broke down Clara Bow, because we do feel like there's a lot of similarities, I guess, in Taylor talking about how fame has affected her and her relationships, and even though they're looking at it from a very different angle and they're completely different vibes of a song, there's still kind of there's a theme, there's a similar theme. And you know, with Clara Bow just being very fresh in our breakdown mind, we thought maybe we'd get more out of the Albatross breaking it down as well. And I think that, you know, the last few songs we've really had so many fathomings. The Black Dog and this, I hope, is a similar experience, that I come out of it fully grasping what the hell is going on in some of these lyrics.
Yes, absolutely. So I think before we listen, we need to maybe have a little bit of a chat about what an albatross is and how, you know, this may, as we listen to the song, link into this metaphor that she's trying to spell out for us.
Yeah.
So, as we said, an albatross is a bird who they spend a lot of years at sea. I think it's something like 6 years or something that they can spend out at sea without ever touching land, which is so. How the fuck are they doing that?
That's a lot. They must be sitting down on the waves.
Oh, yes, but they never touch land. They never touch land.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
They're just like land. We don't need her.
Yeah.
We are a sea bird.
It's really interesting because it says here, in a metaphorical sense, an albatross is usually referred to as something that causes anxiety or guilt or that burdens and encumbers. And that is specifically the metaphor that I think she's using here, whilst also bringing in that sea and bird imagery at some points as well. So she's kind of touching on both meanings of the albatross in this song, which I find really fascinating, and she's definitely not shy to a double metaphor.
Wasn't there also the meaning that it can be a signal to boats?
Oh, something like that. Yeah, like a signal to sailors or something.
Yeah, signal to sailors of like of either, was it something good or something bad, like an omen or something?
Samuel Taylor Coleridge's most quoted and misquoted poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, tells the story of a sailor who shoots a friendly albatross, cursing himself and his crew. That is actually quite fascinating because she is speaking to what the media and people sort of say about her as these warning signs in a relationship and stuff. And it could be like if you shoot her, you shoot yourself, because Taylor,
you curse yourself,
always gets her revenge with Tay Voodoo.
Albatrosses have become symbols of both good and bad luck. Oh my God. That could also be what she's referencing, is that she, depending on which way you see her, she's good or bad. You know,
and I think that comes in at the last chorus too, where she switches it to be she's actually an albatross because she's a good omen.
How you view her or your perspective. It would
Very interesting metaphor.
It would make sense to me that if that poem is what she's referencing, and
Maybe.
because obviously poetry, the Tortured Poets Department, like I think it would make a lot of sense if she's been inspired by that famous poem.
I think we should have a listen and then we can
yeah.
discuss how these different metaphors are used throughout the song. It's a very...
Poetic
This song is a perfect example of a song that is so incredibly intelligent that we haven't even been able to fully fathom it. And that's why it's not one of our favorite songs on Tortured Poets. We're not smart enough to get it because Taylor Swift is too smart for us. We know it's always us that's the problem. It's never Taylor. It's us. Such an interesting production.
Wise men once said, wild winds are death to the candle. Rose by any other name is a scandal. Cautions issued, he stood shooting the messengers. They tried to warn him about her.
The production at the beginning is kind of interesting. It feels like a bit of a
It sounds
glitchy,
it's glitchy.
I kind of got the image of like a bird's wings flapping.
Seabird. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it goes without saying that this song and its production and her melodies, beautiful.
Yeah.
Anything that could even dream of being compared to Ivy is obviously the most superior thing you've ever heard sonically.
And I think as well, it kind of has a witchy energy, actually.
It does.
This song, which
it does. So much of this anthology is giving witch.
Yeah, even actually that intro, it kind of feels like you're entering a dream or something. Like
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's all really pretty, and it's kind of, you kind of feels like a little bit like cauldrony.
Yeah, totally. Wise men once said, wild winds are death to the candle. A rose by any other name is a scandal. I think, first of all, bringing up the wise men is so fascinating because I think that she's been actually really sarcastic.
She is, yeah.
But you don't know that at this point in the song. The whole point is that they're not wise men. The wise men that she talks about in this song are specifically people who are, as she sums up this verse, they tried to warn him about her. They're people who are warning a potential relationship, a potential lover of hers, to stay away from her.
Yeah.
For reasons that are probably unfounded because they don't even really know her. And then obviously that first quote, wild winds are death to the candle. I think that that's such an intriguing lyric because what I get from that is that basically what they're saying is that she is chaotic, she is wild, she is that wild wind.
Yeah.
And you, this potential love match, are the candle and she will blow you out. You cannot survive in her chaos, in her wind.
Yes. In the spirit of the Romantics, Swift likens the wild wind to women like herself, an untamable force of nature, inspiring both fear and beauty. The candle here, in the words of the wise men, represent men who should be wary of unruly women, for they will be their downfall.
Yes.
Is that a famous quote?
No, I think the next one is. The next one, I think, is a Shakespeare quote.
A rose by any other name is a scandal.
But the is a scandal is new. A rose by any other name wouldn't smell less sweet or something. It's from like Romeo and Juliet or something.
This lyric possibly references Romeo and Juliet. Yes.
A rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Yeah. The lyric ultimately implies that both the name of something and referring to something by a different name cannot change how it's received.
Yeah.
A name cannot make something more or less positive or more or less negative. You can refer to a scandal by any other name to try to make it sound better or less worse than it is, but it's still a scandal. Also, like, dating her is a scandal, regardless if it's positive or negative, which actually does kind of fit to this whole theme of her potentially being taken as positive or negative depending on how you look at her. This albatross symbol. Cautions issued, he stood shooting the messenger.
That's an interesting lyric because I think for me it kind of gives me the first sense of like this potential lover fighting back. They're shooting the messenger, the person who's trying to warn against her. Like, I'm going to try and not listen to these things.
This line relates to the idiom, shoot the messenger, which is to treat someone who reports bad news as if they are at fault for it. The messenger delivers messages that warn him about Swift, telling the lover to not get involved.
So straight off the bat, this song feels like a direct link into a song like Blank Space.
Yeah.
But maybe also even the lyric in Shake It Off where she says, I go on too many dates, but I can't make them stay. She's directly calling back to this character that the media has painted of her as this serial dater who can't keep a guy. And that evolving from something innocent, as in she can't make them stay because they have the power and they've left, to her having the power now that she's a fully grown woman. They're warning against her instead of just having these men leave her. She's the one destroying them.
It's so amazing how she's managed to put this into words and, like, I guess narrate this story. And there is a lot of that, like I said, on Tortured Poets. And it's like she is this narrator, this poet, this storyteller, where she often will remove herself from the situation in order to tell the story in a way that feels so unbiased almost.
Yeah.
And
just very matter of fact.
Yes, it punches you harder though, because it's so clear how wrong it is.
Yes.
How they treat her and how they talk about her.
Cross your thoughtless heart, only liquor anoints you. She's the albatross, she is here to destroy you.
Ooh, it's such a pretty melody.
It's a little nugget.
It's a little nugget.
Chorus,
and then we have
isn't
an add-on, of course, in the second chorus. But
Yes.
it is such a pretty melody.
So with this chorus, I think that we completely grasp what she means by she's the albatross, she's here to destroy you. And I think that really links back into this metaphor of an albatross being like an anxiety-inducing kind of thing. Like or a bad omen.
She's a burden.
She's an albatross. She is not good for you. She is here to destroy you. Cross your thoughtless heart, only liquor anoints you.
Is a fascinating lyric.
Is a fascinating lyric. I think what I will immediately say about both of these lines is that they bring back in this religious theme that seems to be present in a lot of songs on Tortured Poets. Straight off the top of my head, I can think of But Daddy, I Love Him as an entire song, but also I think the bridge of Guilty as Sin, for example, and it shows up elsewhere too. You know, crossing your heart is kind of like doing the sign of the cross, you know, like pray, right? The addition of the word thoughtless is intriguing, and what I take her to mean by that is that the way that these wise men will perceive you in going into this, it's like they view you as thoughtless.
Well, it's kind of like them speaking in this whole chorus, right? Like, cross your thoughtless heart, only liquor anoints you. She's the albatross. That's what they're saying. The public message, or the people warning him. They're saying kind of like, it's kind of giving like when she says that I can fix him. No, really, I can. Like, they shake their head saying, God help her.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, it's kind of like that energy from them as well. Like, oh, God help him cross his thoughtless heart. Like, what a stupid man to get involved with her.
Yeah, they're calling him thoughtless because he's actually going to be trying this relationship regardless of their warnings, which she's already told us when she says he stood shooting the messengers. They tried to warn him about her. The fact that they tried implies that he's going to give it a shot anyway, and so they're going to think he's a bit of an idiot. He's a bit thoughtless. He's not thinking clearly.
But what the hell is only liquor anoints you?
Well, I think that maybe one way you could take it is alcohol being a fuel in this relationship. Like, maybe, I could be so wrong in saying this, but like maybe when you're a little intoxicated,
you think it's a good idea?
Yeah. To anoint means to make someone holy in a religious ceremony through the use of holy water or oil. Swift twists this holiness once again by replacing holy water with liquor, alluding to the presence of alcoholism antonymous to holiness. So it's literally the opposite of being holy if you're alcoholic. The only time the partner Swift is describing experiences influence akin to the divine is when they are drinking, again emphasizing their thoughtlessness. That is interesting. So yeah, it emphasizes the fact that they think he's an idiot. He's getting drunk, that's making him feel good in her presence, which is the opposite of what they're trying to warn him to do. And they've already told us that he's thoughtless for even considering it in the first place, and the alcohol further fuels that stupid decision to get involved with her.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that he is a drinker. It means that that's how they're perceiving him.
Well, I think it's kind of maybe in the same way that Taylor has several times compared love to being a drug.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, obviously, you're going to be intoxicated by this relationship. That's what we're warning you against. She'll reel you in, but she'll destroy you.
Yeah. Wow. It is just such a layered lyric. And I think just, you know, kind of language that she's using here is just like deeply not obvious or common to describe a situation. So it's a lot. I really do love how that chorus ends and the way that she sings, she is here to destroy you. Like it
kind of tapers off again. There's like, it kind of goes quiet again.
It actually really reminds me of Promise to be Dazzling. Like there's the same energy in that kind of end to the chorus that feels really that she's saying so much with it without saying exactly what she means.
Yes.
And there's an irony to it. Like that she is saying that because she knows that that's not what she's obviously intending to do, but that's how people perceive her.
Yes.
And it's very...
Let's have a listen to this second verse. I think that the second verse is a little more straightforward in its metaphors and its quotes.
Wise men once said, one bad seed kills the garden, one less temptress, one less dagger to sharpen, locked me up in towers, but I'd visit in your dreams, and they tried to warn you about me.
Ooh, it's interesting that that's where she switches it to me.
Yes, it's the first time she's actually making it clear that this is about herself and not just another woman.
Yeah.
But I think that what's actually really important with that, linking it back into this being a message about not only her experience with fame, but just women in the industry in general, kind of like that comparison back to Clara Bow, is that she's not the first woman to experience this. People, and men specifically, don't like strong women. And I think that there is an intentional use of the word her in the first verse because it could be about any woman.
Yes.
Any strong woman is a threat to you as a man.
And she does do that a lot on this album. That's why, like, one of the themes absolutely is, I think, like, the patriarchy and, like, feminism.
Yeah.
Because even in songs like Cassandra, where she's comparing her story to this legend, to this story that's very famous and well known, that it's like that because it's something that exists in the world. It's a very common theme that women feel.
Yeah.
And so there's so many times that she links herself back to these previous women that have experienced something different, and maybe their story didn't get told enough or highlighted enough, and I feel like she's drawing attention to that by comparing herself. And in a way, it makes her less alone.
For sure.
It's such a clever way of doing it because for those haters that do like to paint Taylor as like a victim or like, you know, they don't like it when she talks about her individual experience, she's lumping it into this woman experience, this woman in the industry experience.
Well, she is saying she's a victim, but she's saying that she's a victim of the patriarchy, as is every woman in history, basically. I mean, even comparing herself to Cassandra, this is a story that is thousands of years old, and she can still find herself in these strong female characters because it's been like this for so many years.
The way of the world.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that...
It's genius.
I think that there is a real sadness in her emphasis of this. That the fact that she can find herself in this, in a negative way, in women no matter what century they came from or were written about in, I think it really speaks volumes of how long-standing the patriarchy has been and how deeply that has affected women negatively.
Yeah, it's very sad.
So long.
And even to compare herself to this Albatross is an extremely sad thing to do as well, that she's... God, she could just sing a song that's like, I'm such a burden.
Yeah.
How boring would that be?
Yeah, but she's a genius.
Help. It's concerning.
It is. So verse 2, she starts off with, wise men once said, one bad seed kills the garden. The way I take this lyric is she is the bad seed and he is the garden, essentially.
I think I take it as like if there's one woman that behaves wrong, the rest of them will follow suit. So you've got to shoot
Definitely
down
that as well.
the one that is bad.
Yes. Which again, I think speaks back to like all of this energy coming from a patriarchal society and like, and specifically from figures who benefit from this patriarchal society. It's like, if we let down our standards for even just one woman to let through and get away with this, they will all realize that they might have a chance of doing that, and we're screwed.
I also think it's such an interesting thing to highlight that wise men once said this, because it's actually a really stupid thing to say as well.
Yes.
Like, one bad seed ruins the whole garden. Like, we know that to not be true. But they once believed that, you know? And so it's like, with this hindsight, it's a really very simple way of thinking about things, but also has that metaphor for the bad woman. You got to keep them all in line, which actually does follow the next lyric perfectly.
Yes.
One less temptress, one less dagger to sharpen. Ooh, God, that is a good lyric.
Yeah, it is. It is.
One woman out of line, we got to sharpen our dagger for her, cut her off.
And if we can convince you to not entertain this dangerous woman, then there's one less person we need to kill, that we need to bring back down to earth.
I do love the old school choice of words here. Once again, there's a lot of that on this album, kind of linking it back to a different time.
It feels very fairy tale-like.
It does. I mean, a temptress is
it's
like
witchy again.
It's witchy, and a woman that will tempt you to do something bad, you know, with their sexuality. How the fuck they labeled women that have any power over a man with their beauty? Yeah, they were labeled a temptress.
Yeah, yeah.
Like branded this bad word.
Like we are the problem. Are to blame for you being turned on.
For you being tempted. Oh my God.
No, and it's the same shit that we deal with today.
It is.
Women being blamed for wearing
a short skirt.
Yep. They were asking for it.
Or they were sluts.
You just sexualized me. I can wear what the fuck I want.
You're the one that can't control yourself.
Yes. No, makes me so angry.
I'm so mad. Yeah, I've never fathomed that word.
Yeah. Locked me up in towers, but I'd visit in your dreams. Ooh, I love that. It's like they've had to lock her away because she is this temptress. This is obviously, again, metaphorical for what the media and what the public have tried to do to Taylor throughout her whole career. It's trying to drag her down so that she no longer has power. They're trying to belittle her and her choices in men. They're trying to convince us that she did these men wrong, even though Taylor has a history of actually dating men who are significantly older than her, predatory men.
They have manipulated her.
But she is still the problem.
Oh, I know, I can't. I mean, that's perfect for, you know, what could have, should have, like, paint a grown man.
Yes.
You know, splashed, whatever the fuck that lyric is, you know, the one.
Yeah, and if I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man?
Yes, that lyric is so discoded.
Yeah.
But he was still dreaming of her, even though she's locked away.
Yes.
Yes. She'd visit in his dreams.
Which again is that nod to the fact that he was choosing to ignore these warnings because he could see the truth in her enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's really beautiful how that carries out throughout this whole song, that she feels like maybe she's found this person who won't listen to what everybody has to say. They're ignoring what people have to say about the Taylor Swift, because I think she's always had to deal with that, but more than ever, it would have been very frightening for her to be single again.
Yeah.
Whether or not she immediately wanted to jump into a relationship now or in the future, there's still this prospect of, I would like to fall in love again. And when so many people dislike me and so many people have the wrong idea of me, how could they not just believe that?
Yeah.
But this person has chosen not to hear about any of that. They're not thinking about it. They're not seeing it. They're just taking the real her for what is the truth.
I wonder if people find this song relatable, even in that sense of just feeling like a burden that maybe no one would ever love them. Because it is a very fame-driven song, but I do think there is actually quite a relatable message now that I'm fathoming it a bit
100%.
more as well.
I think that there's so many women who unfortunately have very low self-worth, and I think that feeling specifically can make you feel like you can't even see why anybody would even want to be with you.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of women who feel that. I think there's a lot of people in general who feel like that. And I do think that this song is relatable for anybody who feels like that, feeling like they don't even see their own worth in a relationship and they can only see why people would view them through a negative lens, but then finding somebody who does see the beauty in them would be so uplifting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an offensive add-on chorus.
Oh my God. We're only 53 seconds through the song.
Well, it's because it has a verse 3, and
a
you know how we
bridge.
feel about a verse 3. Any song that has a verse 3 is really quite deeply superior.
The song kind of is quite quick pace at the beginning, and then like it moves through the story quite quickly, and then it gives you quite a lot at the end.
Yes, that is very, very true.
She's the albatross. She is here to destroy you. Devils that you know. Raise worse hell than a stranger. She's the death you chose. You're in terrible danger.
Why do I just get such a sneaky energy from her when she sings these lyrics? Like, I know
It
it's
is
dead
quite
serious,
sneaky.
but there's something about it that she's like, you're in terrible danger. Like, it's just
I get it.
ridiculous.
Well, because
it's ridiculous.
It's there. Even though it's a very serious topic, and she'd feel very deeply about the fact that people feel this way about her, she is making fun of them at the same time. So it adds this air of silliness to the song, even though it's really not silly at all.
No, I wouldn't call it quite silliness, but you're right. There's like a. It's honestly smug or
She's
smart.
making them the butt of the joke
She is.
when they're constantly trying to make her the butt of the joke. She's kind of flipping that on them.
It's so clever that it's humorous in a way.
So obviously this chorus is an add-on chorus. So the first part is the same, and then she adds some new lyrics. Devils that you know, raise worse hell than a stranger. She's the death you chose. You're in terrible danger.
That first lyric, I'm not quite sure if I fully understand.
Well, I think that's a
Devils
play
that
on
you
the
know.
phrase, better the devil you know. But she's kind of saying the opposite of that, which is this continuing, like, playing on famous quotes.
But better the devil you know, is that kind of saying, like, it's better than be aware of the...
Yeah, yes. It's like, for example, like, if I was really hating the job that I was in and was considering going to a different corporate job, someone might say to you, you know, better the devil you know. At least you know what you're in for with the job that you're in. So don't risk going to something else because you may hate it. You don't know what that devil is yet.
Okay,
But you do know the devil you're dealing with, so you can work through it. It's kind of like, like just deal with the shit you currently are facing because you already know what to expect.
So here's she's saying, devils that you know
Raise worse hell than a stranger. So it's kind of the opposite of that. It's kind of like, not better the devil you know. You're better off going to a stranger. Taylor Swift is the devil you know.
You do know her.
You've seen her story in the media
Yeah.
over the years. You know what you're getting yourself into with Taylor Swift. She's a serial dater. You just know you're going to end up heartbroken. She's a temptress. Don't go near Taylor Swift. You're better off dating a woman you've never met before, a
Totally.
stranger.
Yeah, wow. I love the raise worse hell.
Yeah, raise worse hell.
Also a great lyric because it ties into the devils as well. Devil, raise worse hell.
And then ending with, she's the death you chose, you're in terrible danger. Again, we've got this admission of the fact that he is actually with her. He has ignored these warnings. He is with her because he's chosen her.
And it's kind of giving, it's going to be forever. It's going to go down in flames.
Yeah, it is.
Which, like you just said before, it kind of does link back to Blank Space perfectly. This narrative of her being someone who's going to destroy the men that she touches, that she dates.
Yes.
Wow, is she that powerful? Who's afraid of little old me?
So true. This bridge, though, is really where the narrative shifts.
Oh, the music.
And when that sky rains fire on you, and your persona non grata, I'll tell you how I've been there too, and that none of it matters.
None of it matters.
Yeah, so this is the
Bullshit.
first perspective shift where she's actually telling him something instead of those people. And it's it is in contrast to what they're telling him.
Yeah.
What I get from this bridge as an overall message is that she's just finally the one being able to reach him and speak to him instead of these wise men.
Yeah.
And she's saying, when all hell breaks loose because you are dating me and people have everything to say about it, just know that I understand what that feels like and we will get through it.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I've been there too.
What they've been saying doesn't matter because we know what we have.
Totally.
Which is really beautiful.
I remember some people taking this lyric like Taylor's speaking to other women that are going to go through this. Like,
yes, yes.
She's saying like, I've been through that. Like other women, if you try and date in this industry, they're going to paint you this way.
I do like that interpretation as well.
And when that sky rain falls on you, like you said, everything, all of that.
Yeah, or hell breaks loose, the shitstorm.
Yeah, and all of the public scrutiny for maybe either the man dating Taylor Swift or for women in the industry dating.
Yes.
And getting slut shamed for it.
Mm-hmm.
And your persona non grata, I think that's the lyric I really need to understand.
Yeah.
It's a Latin term meaning an unwelcome person. This could refer to how her lover will now be ostracized from society. They will lump her into being the same as her, which I guess it could work for other women in the industry too that way as well, if she was trying to mean it as a double meaning. But
for sure, it's like,
her lover.
I've had a bad reputation, and to some extent I still do. People still don't like me and want to warn people against me. But you could end up like me.
It's almost like
okay.
your persona will be forever tainted by being with me. The public opinion will change.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, I've been there. I've literally had this my whole life.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter.
Yes. And I think that bringing it back to this potentially being about Travis, I think that we have kind of seen this play out to some extent. I think particularly with people's hatred of Taylor being present, on camera at NFL games, and, maybe to some extent Travis fans specifically. I'm sure a lot of men have always seen him as this, this bachelor type, this young man who's like, he's brooding and he's strong and he's this football player, and now being associated with a girly girl like Taylor Swift, you're not the guy for me anymore.
No, let's talk about that. How dating a girly girl is like a gay thing to do. What's with that?
Taylor Swift is the worst thing that's ever happened to the NFL.
Yeah.
So therefore, Travis's association with her, Travis's image itself is tarnished.
Totally.
Which is what she's saying here. And I think that he's also come to realize that her advice is true. None of it matters because he's found a partner that he loves and that he can see a future with. And that's more important than anything.
Yeah, and they are rising above that. They're just not letting that affect them.
Yes.
It kind of does remind me of like the last part of But Daddy, I Love Him. And obviously that's up for debate as to who it's about. And maybe Taylor wrote it, about multiple different experiences in her life and as she's shifted relationships. But at the end, that lyric where she says, time, doesn't it give some perspective? I think is really her saying that to the people, like to the audience, but also just, to the public. Once they've realized she's in a relationship for a little bit of time, it kind of dulls down. Like they stop attacking so much because once
they just accept it.
Yeah, they just accept it, and it's like it doesn't actually matter at the end of the day.
It'll all blow over.
It blows over.
Every scandal does blow over at the end of the day.
Yes.
And she's been in this industry long enough to know that, which is why what she's saying in this bridge is that I'm the real wise man. I'm the one who's lived through this. I know what it feels like to have to battle these scandals, what people have to say about me, lies that people spread about me, and be able to come out on the other side stronger for it and happier for it.
Wise men once read fake news and they believed it. Jackals raised their hackles. You couldn't conceive it. You were sleeping soundly when they dragged you from your bed, and I tried to warn you about them.
Oh my god, there's so many elements.
No, it's a lot. It's a perfect verse.
Yeah, this is a lot.
So she starts with, wise men once read fake news and they believed it. She's like, they're fucking dumb. Like, these people, the media has spread so many lies about me throughout my career. And these men are dumb enough to believe
keep believing
that?
it. Like, that's what's so crazy. It reminds me even recently when that fucking contract came out about her and Travis ending their relationship, and everyone was like, oh my God, their relationship's going to end on this date. Like, it's all, this whole fake contract was written up about their whole, like, alleged fake romance. And it's like, so tired.
Yeah.
But they still believe it. Yeah, all of this fake news they've believed about Taylor.
Which at the end of the day is where all of these warnings are coming from. They're coming from unfounded claims. They don't exist. It's not real. She's not dangerous. But these stupid men think that it is legit of them to actually give these warnings. No, to wrap up,
like, her whole reputation in this line is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
It's wise men reading fake news and believing it.
Yeah. Jackals raised their hackles. You couldn't conceive it.
I love that you couldn't conceive it.
Yeah, she's like, you actually believe that they're this dumb?
Comprehend.
And I think she's just kind of saying, like, you know, they were quick to get defensive, to jump at these warnings.
Though when you think of you couldn't conceive it, do you think you mean you couldn't even believe how dumb they are? Because I take it as they couldn't conceive it. They can't even comprehend.
Yeah. I think I've always taken it as been like you'd never believe how dumb they are.
You'd never believe it.
That's how I've taken it. But I could be wrong.
Because she's saying you, but she could be talking to them. Like, you couldn't conceive it.
Jackals are wild canines. Canines raise their hackles when their hair bristles up along their backs and necks, usually in an aggressive position to fend off predators. Here, Swift is comparing these so-called wise men to angry wild dogs.
Yeah.
They are angrily defending themselves from dangerous women like her.
Yeah.
So I think just with understanding what that line means, the only way I can make sense of you couldn't conceive it is like they were doing all of this for nothing. You'd never believe how dumb that is.
Yeah, and it is interesting comparing them to dogs like that, and I guess in a way defensive, right? They just get an inkling about something and then they get really defensive and really aggressive. I think that the you couldn't conceive it does work as a nice double meaning depending which way you take it. Yeah, you couldn't believe how dumb these men are.
Yeah.
But then also them as well, they also couldn't conceive. They can't comprehend.
Absolutely. That they're wrong.
They can't even see the bigger picture because they're actually that small-minded.
Yeah, totally.
Which the whole time she's been saying they're small-minded, right? They can't see outside of the bigger picture. They can't see outside of their perception of the world, how they view women should be.
Yes.
So I think it works nicely either way of them.
You're right.
Not being able to conceive this whole thing because I just don't get it.
Completely agree.
And we can't argue with stupid people.
Yeah.
We just have to let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love these last lines. You were sleeping soundly when they dragged you from your bed, and I tried to warn you about them. I feel like this is really a flip as well, because it's like this whole time these wise men have been warning him that she was going to be the one to like drag you from your bed or whatever. But actually in coming up with all these false claims, they're doing damage. They're the predators.
Yeah.
They're the people in the wrong. They're the villain in this scenario. They're dragging him from his bed.
And I think that's what's kind of ironic about this whole thing is they're warning him about her destroying him. But actually just being associated with her, we will have to destroy you as well because we hate her so much.
Yes.
We are threatened by her. And that's kind of like your persona non grata, like, we will have to see you as the enemy, just like we see her as the enemy.
Absolutely. You've crossed over to the dark side by associating yourself. Yeah. And I tried to warn you about them. It's such a flip. It's like, and I mean, really, that's what this whole song is.
Yeah,
this whole song is actually her warning him and us about them, because I think that this song works so well as a message to fans too, just as much as it works as a message to a potential lover. Don't believe everything you read about me. People have some bullshit to say and it's not true, and the truth you will only hear from my mouth.
From my mouth, yeah. So true. And I think also the dragging you from your bed is an interesting link back into like the dogs.
Yeah.
Like they're angry dogs on the hunt.
Dragging along.
They're in their instincts to just come and drag you, like grab you by your ankle and drag you into the drama and destroy you because of their aggressive instincts that kick in.
Yes, so true.
It's such a genius flip. I love that she's like, this whole time, I'm trying to warn you about them.
Yeah.
And I guess it is that warning of regardless of getting into a relationship with her, there does have to be a warning. You know, it's either the public and the wider group of people warning him about her, or it's her saying, you know, you getting into a relationship with me will come with this cost. And I think that is that burden that she must feel regardless of the situation, and hoping that someone will want to be with her regardless of that, and if it won't weigh down on them eventually, if it will be able to, if they're strong enough to take that weight. And I do think that Travis is the first person that has really been strong enough to be able to handle that. I mean, time will tell, obviously. Yeah. I think that we might have even thought that about Joe at first, but now we can see that there was a huge lifestyle change that she had to undergo in order for him to feel comfortable with that, whereas it seems like Travis is handling it while really still being able to enjoy the public.
So then we have this final chorus, and like every lyric is different, which is amazing. Again, it continues that flip, and Taylor Swift is just the best at flips. Holy shit.
She does. She knows how to wrap up a story.
So I crossed my thoughtless heart, spread my wings like a parachute. I'm the albatross. I swept in at the rescue. The devil that you know looks now more like an angel. I'm the life you chose, and all this terrible danger.
Oh my God, I don't even know the words. It's just
superior,
it's
offensive,
just so,
illegal.
It's
so
really
good.
so superior. I love those little ha ha ha, ha that come in. It's just so pretty.
Also, you can really hear that this is an Aaron song.
You absolutely
it's
can.
So obviously an Aaron song.
It is, in the way that the production builds.
Yeah.
Once again, we always talk about how thick his songs become at the end.
Yes.
There's so many different...
Thick song Aaron.
I love the way he seems to like take a melody, for example, like a melody that's on a guitar, and then he replicates that melody on the piano or on an electric guitar, and it feels like the same melody, but it's just thickened and it's changed, and it changes the tone of the song, and it changes the vibe, and it's just... It's so pretty. And I love how she goes into that last chorus with that extra extended note, like, I tried to warn you about them.
Oh, absolutely
superior.
Offensive.
Now it's cross my thoughtless heart, spread my wings like a parachute. I am the albatross. I swept in at the rescue. It's like changing the whole thing to being this positive symbol. Yeah. And I guess, like we said at the beginning, of it being like, depending on which way you look at her, could maybe be this negative burden or this positive angel. Yeah. And I think that at the end, she really is flipping that to be like, this is actually the reality of it.
Absolutely. She's showing us that she's actually a good omen, not a bad omen. Yeah. And I really like that for kind of the first time in the song, she's actually giving us bird imagery. Like, she's just a bird. Like, she's just a girl. She's just a bird. She springs her wings like a parachute, and she's swept in at the rescue. She's just a bird.
The cross my thoughtless heart and spread my wings like a parachute, it almost feels like she's taking this risk in this relationship, or they're both doing that together, and maybe some people would perceive that as thoughtless, you know, or taking a risk, but she is doing that, and it's going to result in something positive and something beautiful.
And a parachute is something that is life-saving. It lowers you slowly and softly and will save your life. And that is her sweeping in at the rescue. It's like she's like launched her parachute and like bringing them back down to earth, and we don't need to listen to all this noise up here. Let's just stay grounded.
Oh my God, I didn't think about that. The parachute is like, it is the rescue.
Yes.
Yeah. It's saving them from the fall. Yeah. I'm just trying to make sense of why she never changed like the thoughtless lyric, right? Because that still stayed the same in this chorus, even though she's kind of using it as an insult in the other choruses.
Well, I think that there's still some sarcasm in this chorus, and I think that this line is that it's like, you know, he's thoughtless for even giving her a chance, but ultimately they're warning him against her because she is thoughtless herself and careless with men's hearts and things like that. So that feels like still a bit of another stab at these wise men.
Yeah.
And I think that it's obvious again in the last line, I'm the life you chose and all this terrible danger. Because what she's really saying is that there is no danger, but I'm going to play on the sarcasm as if they think it's danger. So yeah, and all this terrible danger. Oh my God, you're so scared.
You're so right. And that's interesting that the chorus then still starts the same and ends the same.
Yeah, it starts and ends with the stab at the wise men, even though everything in between is
the truth.
It's going to be okay. The devil that you know looks now more like an angel. Again, playing on this better the devil you know, like I am that devil, but you can see now that we've moved through the shit of the beginning phases of this relationship, that I'm actually an angel. I might be the one for you, and that this was a good decision despite all of the warnings that you received.
And I love that she changes I'm the life you chose, because they said she's going to be the death you chose.
Yes.
And it's a life because obviously they're living, they're thriving.
Yeah.
If this is about Travis, and also that they're creating a life together.
Yeah. Not to end on a negative note, but I don't love how in the outro she flips it back to the original narrative. So cross your thoughtless heart. She's the albatross. She's the albatross. She is here to destroy you. I don't like that it's going back to this warning, because I think that she's done such an amazing job of flipping this narrative and telling us it's all going to be okay. Don't listen to everyone. I just don't understand why that was the decision she made.
I think that I just get from it that it's the sass coming back in, or the irony coming back in.
You're right.
She's trying to just poke fun at I've told you everything. And then it's like, so cross your thoughtless heart. Like, if you want to keep continuing to think that way and believe that way,
that's true.
It kind of, she's just going to go on continuing to ignore it, because she always knows that maybe she will be the albatross that is here to destroy men.
And that people will continue saying these warnings about her and viewing her through this lens, even though it's not true. I guess, you can flow it on from the end of that last chorus and how we were saying that feels sarcastic. I'm the life you chose and all this terrible danger. So cross your thoughtless heart. Like, it's continuing on with this sarcasm around the danger.
Or she could be spinning it to her talking to the media. Cross your thoughtless heart, because I will destroy you. Like, or I will destroy those rumors. I will destroy that reputation. Like, I will come out on top.
I like that.
Because I am the albatross and I am here to destroy your way of thinking.
Yeah.
This patriarchy, societal norms. It's giving Who's Afraid of Little Old Me a little bit. Like, I will continue to
fight back.
Yeah.
I like that.
Almost like she's talking directly to them that she's here to destroy you.
Yes, I like that. And I like it too because it kind of actually links in with this idea that they will continue to see her in the same way.
Yeah.
What she's saying by that interpretation is like, there is no risk to a lover. I am not the person they warn you about. But I absolutely will fight back. Like, they should be fearful of me, so they will always see me as something to fear because I will always come for them.
Yeah, and it kind of is giving, like, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be scared.
Yeah. Well, you should be.
I like that. I never thought about that until that moment.
This is a fucked up song.
Yeah.
And I am deeply grateful that she gave it to us. And sometimes I like it when she gives me a song that is just too smart for me to comprehend at the start. Because especially on an album this long, sometimes you need a couple of songs that you just don't fucking get at first, you know?
You absolutely do. No, this is why she's a genius, because she fucking knows us. Taylor, you're too good. You're actually too good. It's concerning. It's concerning. Because you know how much we fucking listen to your songs.
Yeah.
You know how
we'll
deeply
get there
obsessed
one day.
we are. And you know that we need time to unravel more complex songs.
Yeah.
This is why Torture Poet's for the fans. I'm sorry, no normal human could ever wrap their head around this.
No.
She actually made this album for us. I'm so deeply concerned that she gave this to us and that she literally knows. She knows us. She knows what we want. She knows what we need. I'm actually going to cry because I love this woman so much. And It's so superior because we will just forever be fathoming.
This is actually a fucked up song. I am absolutely about to have a moment with this song.
I am absolutely about to have a moment with this song as well. I'm so happy we did this.
Me too.
So glad we fathomed. I was a bit on struggle street with those first few lyrics, but then it's clicked.
It's clicked.
It's solid.
It's clicked,
I'm understanding what's happening. Thank the fucking Lord. Because I was actually really waiting for this video to fully comprehend what was going on in those lyrics. And it's so fun. It's so fun when you like listen to a Taylor Swift song and like there might be one lyric that's just not quite hitting right for you, and then you get this opportunity to really sit down and like work
process
through it.
Yeah, totally.
It can really shift the entire meaning
absolutely
of a song.
for sure. Yeah.
And that's why we love you guys too. I need you to comment and make note. I hope that you guys are still watching at this point, that you really did that for Chloe, Sam, etc. for us. I know that we were really talking about it being in this aftermath of maybe, you know, the Maddie situation, and a lot of you guys were commenting about it maybe being more of a before they got together and her reflecting on their past, and I think it really changes the energy behind the song.
And I like being able to see it through both perspectives in that way.
Totally.
Yeah, because it's not a perspective I had considered going into the breakdown.
Yes.
So yeah,
love
that's
your
why we need you.
fathomings. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
And we're really in our Torture Poets era, guys.
Yeah,
so
we are.
enjoying...
But we're getting towards the end, guys. There's only a few songs left for us to break down.
I know. It's a lot.
You know, I wonder what we're gonna break down next. Guess we just have to wait and see.
If you don't know, we do give you hints over on Instagram.
Yes, we do.
When we upload
in our caption.
each video about what the next video is. So make sure you check that out.
Yes.
Also, don't forget to check out our Patreon. We never say it.
Yes.
Literally so much superiority happening over there.
Absolutely.
We love you guys.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you soon.
Love you. Bye.